Now, let me get to my guest, Lyon Zagami. Now, he's been with me a number of times in the past. He came forward about 4 or 5 months ago with just amazing information about how Freemasonry, how the Vatican, how the government, these secret agencies, the secret societies work together worldwide. And I'm not talking about just in America, talking all over, in Russia, in Europe, in Israel, in the Middle East. And so we're connecting the dots all the way across the country with really solid inside information. And the reason that Leo's story is important is if you've been listening to the Discovery Channel lately, and those channels, the National Geographic, they have been pelleting, I mean, just one show after another regarding the real story they say about Freemasonry. And they depict Freemasons as a benign group of people trying to do good. And they show some of they show on TV some of their rituals, things like that, but they never tell the whole story. They depict it as a good organization. Then they get into stories about the Knights Templars. They're getting into stories about, every possibility, and they spin it their way. Now, when I say spin it their way, there's much, much more to all these stories, and that's why I have Lyon Zagami on. He's a former 33rd degree high-level Freemason from the Monte Carlo P2 Lodge. His roots were in the Vatican. He's a former Catholic, grew up in Rome, worked on Vatican radio, knows the inside story. His father is he's going to tell you about his family background. But anyway, without any further ado, Leo, how are you today from Norway? How are you?
Very good, very good. Thank you very much. It's been great to start the year with a lot of interest on what we are trying to do with opposing this great enemy with a few knights that are willing to take on board the great struggle of these days, which is to finally bring into the open certain subjects, as we did in the last few months in your radio show, and also try to find some solutions, if possible, for the future, because we are living some very hard times, and if the situation goes on the way it is going on, we will also need to find some situation whereby when people finally the system falls down, the people will not totally be left with nothing. So we are trying to create even a bank for this special bank that we want to bring forward a committee to establish this bank that was formed in Rome on the 3rd of January. Probably it's more adequate, it's better that other members like Marco Saba can tell you a bit more about it at a later date. The bank is called for Transcendental Settlements, and it's something that we are doing in order to protect our own economy in the coming years. Once the yen, the dollar, the euro will fall down, and once the whole world will be in a complete state of chaos, only a few players will be able to put some order into this chaos, and they have to be very prepared, because the chaos that is coming up, as you know, Greg, is very difficult then to work in any way.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it sounds like a good idea. So just briefly, because we could spend an hour just on the bank story, and I want to get into your past and some of the things you're doing. But just tell us how it works simply for just someone who wants to put their money in a place that may be safe when the other avenues of finance fail.
What we're going to do in the next few months, we're going to try to establish a bank for the establishment of a new currency. Because without a new currency, there can't be any change, because all the currencies at the moment are connected to the Illuminati system, and the Illuminati system is corrupt at the base. That's why the whole banking system in the West is called by the Muslim believers haram, is not halal, because it's not the correct way. The percentages that banks are taking and the way banks are working with, money which is coming from, we know what, recycling drugs, weapons, and whatever. We want to bring forward a currency which is instead reinvesting its own profits within the world that we are destroying. That's why actually our idea is to establish a new currency in Brazil called the Amazonas, which will help the current situation in the Amazons, and it will be based. So anybody that gets involved with this currency is also helping preserving the nature. The great big nature that we have at the moment is in jeopardy because nobody is taking care of this situation. So we hope that we will do this with this operation. As I said, I'm not totally qualified to talk about it because banking is not really fundamentally what I've been always involved in. I've been involved more in the military side and in the organizing structure of the orders, the various Masonic bodies I was working with, and also the operations that were connected to the intelligence gathering. That was more what I've been trying to work with for many years. But now that the situation is changing, I'm trying to also to give a hand to other knights who have some courageous ideas to save the situation when the situation will eventually fall down, when this economic illusion that we are living at the moment will fall into chaos. There must be some kind of solution that we can put forward to people who are willing. So
you know what we'll do? We'll deal with the banking story on another show, and we can get on a couple other people more qualified with you to talk about it.
Absolutely. I would like to get for the banking story Marco Saba, who is one of the founders of this project, and also maybe Prince Lollighetti di Ferentino, which is another aristocrat from a very old family that has decided to move forward with this project. But this is also one side of the project, because you see this is the physical side. The metaphysical and also the other struggle that we want to bring forward is against Satanism, because Satanism goes at the same time as these other things go. They are parallel.
Leo, let me break in real quick here. Take a break. We'll be back in 3 minutes with Leo Zagami on the Investigative Journal.
Broken head, people sleeping in broken bed. Ain't no use driving, ain't no use joking. Everything's broken.
Okay, we are back on the Investigative Journal. I'm your host, Greg Szymanski, again back on RBN, and you can listen to me on 12.180 on the shortwave network also, so all you shortwave listeners, tune in 11 to 1, 12.180 for the hardest-hitting interviews on the Internet. Okay, for my friends at RBN, I have to make a couple program notes and announcements. You can get new RBN T-shirts available on rbnlive.com or nottyranny.com, or call in at 800-724-2719. And also, you can buy a Freedom to Fascism, that video that's sweeping the Internet from RBN, and you can call at the same number, 800-724-2719, if you want to buy some gold. Republic Trading Group does that, 800-691-7898. In these times, that's a good investment. So call the trading group that doesn't charge you an arm and leg to buy gold, 800-691-7898. Back to my guest, Leo Zagami. Leo, you were on the other side for many years. You worked with these people. You were high up in the chain of command, and you were scheduled to take over for Licio Gelli, who was the head of P2. Tell us a little bit about your background so people know who you are, and then why you decided to turn and come to the side of good.
Well, it was mainly after a number of years I tried to distance myself from the most satanic elements within the order. You see, the order is so big and complex with many different sections and various sub-orders. So out of a concept like the Order Illuminatorum Universalis, then you have several secret societies connected to it. Amongst them there was the Priory of Zion in France, with the French secret police running this thing, together with the Lefebvre and right-wing Vichy movement. Then there was in Italy the various P2 OTO. There was the OTO Alberto Moscato, the OTO FHL of Roberto Negrini, the various OTOs that are used for satanic rituals. And the same was also for other groups. All they were merging under one common banner that was the Order